So moving on now, Cran, to our first preview of the season. This is being recorded for our YouTube, so if you are joining us on YouTube, please do join us on the podcast as well.
Welcome.
We are on the podcast feed, of course, on Spotify for anybody who's interested in listening to the rest of the episode, but anyone who's listening to the podcast will already know that.
It's been a cracker so far.
It's been quite funny. This week, Kieran, our first preview of the season is going to be Chelsea versus Spurs in Stamford Bridge.
Oh, I can only predict what's going to happen here, Adzi.
A big game for Chelsea and Spurs alike. Spurs, of course, with the 4-1 win the weekend, as we said, and Chelsea with the 1-0 win away at Everton. I suppose, first of all, Cran, we'll look at last season's fixtures, which saw Chelsea win both games in Stamford Bridge. 2-0 on both occasions as well, in the Premier League and the League Cup respectively. I think it's fair to say things have slightly changed.
Slightly, yeah.
This season with Spurs' investment. New manager, of course, Conte is there. But things have changed for Chelsea as well. They've lost Lukaku. They've brought in a few new signings. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game pans out. You are our resident Chelsea supporter, so I'm going to let you kick off. And
is there any other resident supporters that I don't know?
So you can let me know what you think is going to happen in this game. Who's going to prevail, I suppose, between Spurs and Chelsea the weekend? And we have a few of our Instagram followers chiming in as well. So yeah, Kieran, take us away.
Personally, I can't see past Chelsea in this game, if I'm honest, and being completely unbiased as well. I think Spurs have invested well, but this game is at Stamford Bridge. Simple answer to the question is that Spurs have won once at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League era,
2018.
So quite simply, I think Chelsea are going to win this game. So there's my answer.
Is it a case of the Jorginho Chiellini's, which it's the history of the Tottenham?
Tottenham is the history of the Tottenham.
I suppose so, yeah. I mean, no doubt Spurs have improved the squad tenfold. Like, Session looks good with left wing back. I think that Dyer has improved under Conte. I think their right wing back situation with Emerson Doherty is good enough as well.
Jed Spence as well.
Yeah, Jed Spence, and obviously that front trio of Kulusevski, who's performed brilliantly, Kane and Son as well. You can never really put past them. But I don't think how would I phrase this? I don't think that means that we can't cope with them.
Essentially, you don't think there's that much of a depth and quality between the sides.
No, there's not much difference. I think we both played the 5 at the back system. As Adam said, we've beaten them 4 times last season. So that proof's in the pudding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think psychological edge with Chelsea having consistently beaten Spurs at Stamford Bridge is a big factor in this game. Have I got a score prediction for you actually?
I think it'll be a very tight game. It won't be as straightforward as previous seasons. This game, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win or something narrow like that. Goals from Jorginho penalty.
Yeah, very. I mean, that's not the, like, we got a few people saying the same thing on the Instagram. I will look at that. I will share their responses now. For me, I think Conte is gonna return to the Bridge, and I think he's gonna get a win. I think it's probably a bit out there because of Chelsea's home form against Spurs. I think Spurs are very under Conte, a very well drilled side, much better than what they have been in years gone by. I think the three up front of Son, Kane and Kulusevski is frightening, isn't it? You know what I mean? And like, you look at the investment that Spurs have made, the likes of Richarlison, Perisic, etc. Good players now. I do think they're potentially a tad bit overrated, but good investments nonetheless. I think Spurs might have too much for Chelsea on this day, and Chelsea's lack of threat going forward.
I think if the counter argument our lack of threat going forward, you could argue that our defence is a lot stronger than Spurs.
Yeah, that's completely fair enough.
Even losing Christensen and Rudiger, I think the investment with Koulibaly and Cucurella makes up for, and I think keeping Azpilicueta as well is big. And obviously Thiago Silva was immense last week. So I think you can sort of counter argument Spurs' track going forward with our good defence, and I think that's why we won those games against Conte last season, is because of that solidity and sort of defensive compactness in defence.
That's fair enough. I just think on this day, I just think Spurs will have too much. I think the 4-1 win on the first day of the season without Kane and Son really kicking into gears, could be a problem for Chelsea if they decide to turn it on this week. It could be a problem. Again, I think it'll be a tight affair. I do think there'll be a few goals in it though. I do think there'll be a few goals. I don't think it'll be 1-0. I'm leaning towards maybe 2-1, 3-1 to Spurs. Koulibaly's first game at Stamford Bridge is going to be a very interesting one. And look, he's one of the best defenders in the world. Thiago Silva, we know all about Thiago Silva. There's not much more we can say at this point. He's a very great defender as well. But I just fancy Spurs. Not literally, but I fancy them in this game. And look, I still think Chelsea could have a very good season. And look, the thing with these things, predicting in general, is it's aimed to make us look like fools. So my 3-1 and your 1-0, you could be right and I could be wrong, or I could be right and you could be wrong. So
and then you could get shit over.
Yeah, but that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you got a favourite Chelsea Spurs moment?
Battle of the Bridge, hands down. I think definitely that goal from Hazard in such a terrible season for us. It was such a highlight for me.
That was the goal that won Leicester the league as well, wasn't it? We have a lot of shouts for that. Shout out to Keane Murray, who said 1-1 draw between Chelsea and Spurs weekend. He said Harry Kane and Jorginho to be on the score sheet, and he also said Hazard's goal to win Leicester the league is his favourite. Chelsea Spurs one, excuse me. Jerry says them kicking the living fuck out of each other in 2016. Clattenburg refusing to send anyone off, which is the ball at the bridge. We have Ian saying when Spurs were booting them off the pitch a few years ago, that was lethal. And 2-1 to Spurs. Dave also says 2-1 Spurs. Chelsea don't look like they know what to do with the ball. Now Dave, as we said, was there on Saturday and at the game, the Chelsea Everton game. I think a problem Chelsea might have this season is how pragmatic they can be. Like, they're in the mark for a midfielder and obviously an attacker. I think Frankie de Jong would change that midfield.
I think we need someone to put Sterling through in those runs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not really creative enough.
Senan says, unsurprisingly, 3-0 Chelsea. Cucurella masterclass. Could happen. Woodley, who was over there at the Chelsea game as well, says 2-1 to the Cucurella boys. Cucurella has made such an impression on Chelsea fans. He's played about half an hour of football. It's because his luscious Spanish locks, isn't it? Gary says 2-1 to Spurs, and his favourite Chelsea Spurs moment was a 4-4 draw in 2008. Robbie Keane equaliser. I think I remember that myself.
Cracking game, yeah.
I remember a League Cup game. Spurs beat Chelsea in the League Cup, didn't they?
I think so, yeah.
I think that was that year, yeah, as well.
They had a bit of voodoo off us that season.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining us on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, you'll hear the last Get It Out segment, so be sure to tune in. And anyone who's joined us on YouTube today, we do encourage you to check out our podcast on Spotify and check us out on TikTok as well, Kieran. What do you think?
Yeah. And I suppose we'll introduce ourselves. My name's Kieran, this is Adam.
A bit late now.
Oh well.
Cheers.
Bye.